Hi everybody. I'm here to do some more reading of Her Own 2 Feet. This is for Miss Holsteggy's class, Mrs. Swicky, Miss Simone's, and Mrs. Hunter. So when we left off, Rebecca had just got to the airport in America. Welcome to Texas. Welcome, Texas? It's August. Why are you wearing that jacket? You're going to get hot outside. Almost all the English words were nonsense to Rebecca. She'd only heard a few in Rwanda, and she wasn't used to hearing them spoken so fast. She stared at the floor. Some of the strangers leaned down and gave her hugs. Hair tickled her cheek, and smells filled her nose with scents she couldn't identify. "Rebecca," said a woman. She bent down and looked in her eyes. "Amerikuru?" I'm not sure if I said that right. I probably didn't. Rebecca glanced up when she heard the familiar word and saw a familiar white face. Natalie worked with Africa New Life. She had been to Rebecca's home, and she knew a little bit of our language. "Nemeza?" she said in answer to Natalie's question, even though she wasn't fine. She was terrified, but she had to be brave. She had promised Papa. "Hello," she said, looking all around the circle of people surrounding her. Hello was the first English word she had learned in school. "Hello," said a girl with her hair pulled back like a tail, and a boy with short blonde hair that bristled, and a lady with a camera swinging around her neck. Everyone was smiling at her. She kind of recognized some of them from the pictures they'd sent, but in the pictures they stayed still so she could study them and practice their names. Here they were passing Danny around and helping Anna with the bags, a swirl of activity with her at the center. Another woman knelt down on the floor so she was face to face with Rebecca. "Meredith," she said, putting her hand on her chest. Rebecca nodded. She understood that the woman's name was Meredith, and she remembered her from the pictures. She was the mother in her host family. "That's Clay," said the woman, pointing to a man in a blue shirt. He was the man who'd given her the candy. "And that's Elena." The girl in a white t-shirt and black shorts, her hair pulled back like a tail, smiled a wide smile. Rebecca remembered her from the picture, the only daughter of the Davis family and the oldest child. She felt a pang of sorrow as she thought of Medea back home. "There's Benji," Meredith said, and the boy with short blonde hair, wearing an American flag t-shirt, smiled and waved. He was the youngest boy in the host family, about her age. Maybe he would like to draw with chalk on the concrete floor. "And that's Nate," said Meredith. Nate's hair was a little longer than Benji's, and he was taller. "Hi," said Nate. "Hello," Rebecca said again. "Hi, I'm Annie," said a tall girl with long blonde hair. This was one of the girls in her sponsor family, the ones who paid for her tuition. Her father was Dr. Rice, the one who brought her here. Rebecca knew from their letter that she and Annie had the same birthday. "Hello," said Rebecca. Then all of a sudden, more English words came to her, words she recited each day in teacher Ramina's kindergarten classroom. "My name is Rebecca," she said proudly. Everyone laughed, and she ducked her head. She was so stupid. Of course they knew who she was. Why else would they be here in the dark morning hours? "We need a picture," said Annie's mother, who had blonde hair just like Annie. She held up her camera, and everyone gathered around Rebecca. "Seka," said Natalie. "Seka, Cain." Rebecca tried to smile big like Natalie said, but her lips would not curl up. The Davises, Annie, Natalie, Anna, and baby Danny circled around her, leaning down so they were at her level. After the picture, they all went outside into the dark morning. Annie and her mother said goodbye. "We'll see you later. Get some rest." Rebecca nodded, even though she didn't understand what they'd said. Would she ride on a motorcycle to get to the Davis house? How many would it take to carry them all? Clay pushed her wheelchair to a big car, lifted Rebecca onto the seat, and helped her buckle her seatbelt. A car! Rebecca looked all around. 2 seats in front, a bench that seated 3 in the middle, and space in the back for suitcases. Anna said Danny sat on the same row as her, and Elena was up front, and Clay and the boys got into a different car. 2 cars? Where was the driver? Meredith got into the seat with the steering wheel and started the car. Meredith could drive? As she stared out the window, Rebecca tried to pretend it was normal for a mother to drive a car. There were no motorcycles or bicycles to dodge and no people walking on the road. It was wide enough for 6 lanes of cars, and it was smooth, not bumpy. She looked up, but the stars were lost in the bright streetlights. They flashed past so fast they blurred into one long line. Meredith and Elena asked her questions, and Anna translated. "How was your trip?" asked Elena. Rebecca had 2 words for the last 30 hours, "Sawa," and all she could say, "good" and "fine." "How are you feeling?" How did she feel? So many miles from her family and home. She was afraid if she said too much, she'd start to cry. "Sawa," she said again. Anna laughed, a tired laugh. "I think Rebecca is sleepy. Maybe she'll be more talkative tomorrow." But Rebecca didn't feel sleepy. She watched out the window intently, trying to see where they were going. They weren't in the city anymore. There were trees and hills on either side of the car. The car turned onto a curvy road that crept up, and then down, and finally they made one last turn onto a paved path that ended at a big 2-story building. Beyond a courtyard wall, Rebecca saw lights flickering next to a large wooden door, and up high there were tiny windows curved at the tops. Meredith pulled the car into a big room with a concrete floor. As the big door rolled up, white lights turned on. "We're here," said Meredith. "We're home." "She says we are home," explained Anna. "This is their house." Rebecca waited for someone to help her get out of the car. For just a moment, she was alone as everyone opened and shut their doors to get out, long enough to think about home and Medea and all she had left behind. "Medea, Meredith says we are home, but we is not me. My home will always be red dirt roads, mangoes in the trees, beans and rice for dinner, and you by my side when it's time for bed." Meredith lifted her out of the car, and she followed Benji through the big room with the concrete floor, wondering where the beds were. Benji opened a door that led to a long hall paved with red stones. There were round electric lights pushed up into the ceiling so that she could see the light but not the bulbs, unless she got right up under them and looked up. "Your room is upstairs," Benji said. She didn't understand any of his words, but she followed him when he turned and walked all the way down the hall to the bottom of a staircase. The stairs were made of wood, polished to a shine, and there was a black metal railing to hang on to. Only she couldn't hang on because she couldn't raise her arm, and even if she could, there was no way she could climb up all those stairs. The family followed them inside, their voices loud and excited in the hall. "I'll carry you," said Clay, and he lifted her onto his hip. She held herself stiff and silent as they went up the stairs. "You're going to sleep with Elena in her room." Anna translated what Clay had said. Rebecca was glad she wouldn't sleep by herself. The last time she had done that was at the clinic when she was 4. The whole family followed them up. At the top of the stairs, Clay put her down, and she followed Elena into a room with bright turquoise walls. There was a bed set into the wall like a giant couch with bookshelves on both sides. Elena pulled a big drawer out from underneath the bed, and it had a whole other bed inside. Rebecca sat on it and bounced up and down, so soft and springy. "Time for a bath," said Anna. "A bath? You've been traveling for almost 2 days. You need to wash yourself before you get into that nice clean bed. Follow me." Alrighty, guys, we'll leave off there the next time. See ya.